there, I thought I would give you this 5-minute FLD that is going to accompany hip joints. So I'm not going to do the final movement in this, especially not right at the very beginning, because that is how we hurt ourselves. So we need to prepare our hip joint for that final movement that we get in the ATM hip joints. So start off, as usual, always just take a moment to drink in, allowing all of your muscles to just relax. Just feel yourself melting into the floor. So all those anti-gravity muscles that are holding you up against space and against gravity can just, now they can just relax. And we can explore some connections with those muscles that we wouldn't be able to do if we were standing upright. So we're going to explore in this ATM and in this little 5-minute FLD, we're going to explore the 4 movements of the hip joints. So bring one leg up to, one knee up to standing, leave the other one long, and just begin by taking one knee towards the floor just a few times, and just start to notice how you do this. Let go of any other tension you may have if you're holding your breath. And in particular, start to notice what part of this movement is still just within the hip joint, and how much, if you keep going, it's going to start turning your pelvis. And just see if you can find the range of movement just inside your hip joint. And when you're tired of that, go to the inside. This is internal rotation. So we've got external rotation and we've got internal rotation. And just notice this, staying within, and just notice the place where your hip starts to raise up off the floor if you keep going. And just see if you can find that range of movement that's just within the hip joint. And just go back and forth for a time. And then do the other side. And as you get used to doing this, you won't need to spend so much time on it. You might notice I have my eyes closed, and that's because I can always sense within myself a little bit easier if I have my eyes closed, so that my visual cortex is not distracted by all this other stuff that's going around. So again, you're just trying to keep your knee and this movement inside the hip joint so that it's not moving. The pelvis is staying flat. You're just staying within the hip joint. Just doing internal and external rotation. And then when you're tired of that, come up onto one side. Bring your knees to about 90 degrees. And then bring your knee towards your chest a few times, and this is flexing the hip joint. And again, see if you're holding your breath. Notice if you're holding too much in your belly or in your back, maybe in your jaw. And just see if you can start to let it go as you do this simple movement a few times. And then when you're ready, take your knee backwards. This is extension. This is hip extension. And you might notice how when you take your knee backwards, your back actually, your spine actually starts to arch. So that's how that movement is traveling up your head. And then alternate. And just let it become easy. The idea in this method is to put as little effort into movement as we have to. We save our energy. And if you want to, you can even do some circles with your hip a few times. And then pause, and we're going to switch sides. So now we're going to do it on this side. Same deal, but just take it forward and back this time. And just easy and gentle. Don't go as far as you can go right away. Stay within this small zone of comfort. When you've done that a few times, you can do a few circles. Change directions. I think I forgot to have you change directions on the other leg. And so we're just exploring all these different possible movements of the hip joint. So now that we're done with that, come on back onto your back. You rest for just a second. Then bring your knee to your chest, lengthen your other leg, and just allow yourself to do some circles in this plane. So these are different circles than what we were doing earlier. Just noticing if you want to keep your hand on your knee for stability for a while, but then just start letting this explore and see how big you can make it. And feel how your pelvis starts to respond. The pelvis is starting to do circles too. But you can do them small enough so the pelvis doesn't move. And change directions. Rest for just a moment. And bring your other knee up and do the same thing. Just do some little circles. Keep it just within the hip joint at first. Change directions. And you can start letting it get bigger. Keep it slow enough and keep it small enough so that you don't hurt yourself. This is important. So we can get big enough that we can start feeling the pelvis moving with the hip joint now. Change directions again. And those are all of the directions of all possible movements of the hip joint. Let's review. We have external rotation, internal rotation. We have flexion, and we have extension. And with those four possibilities, we can also do all kinds of little circles with them. And so this will keep your hip joints greased up so that you can walk without pain. So I hope you enjoy this lesson and have a great day.